Hey everyone, it's baze.djunkiii transmitting from Hamburg, Germany, back with a new video, and well, finally back with my chart haul video for February 2K22. Well, the month is almost over, actually, because it's the 20th of February, and I haven't come to shooting this video because, well, things and stuff, new releases, a lot of new releases, but I got 2 more records to show for my chart haul for this month. Actually, 2 releases I liked. One has been released in September of 2021, I guess, but I recently bought it, and the other one has been originally released in the early 90s, but has been re-released through a label. So let's start with the with this one. The Mountain People Ocean Me, Switzerland-based label you've seen on this channel, I guess 1 or 2 times in the chart haul. Mountain People 018 is the catalog number. A very interesting effort with not much information on who the Mountain People are, but they have been releasing quite a few of nice, decent deep house and minimal funk 12 inches in the past, and I've bought quite a few of these recently. I kind of ignored the label for years, actually, basically because I was playing different stuff, but recently, as they are one of the exclusive labels at the distributor I work at, I came to hear a few test pressings prior to release, and I was kind of, oh, this sounds like old Poker Flat stuff of the late 90s, early 2000s, and I was well intrigued by 2 or 3 releases. And this one is a little different, actually. So basically 2 of the main cuts are going along with what the Mountain People do well, decent deep house, minimal techno, more deep house leaning tracks at this time. But the one I'm talking about, or the one that made me buy this, was Iterate, actually, on the A1 position. Although it's unusual to have the A side with 2 tracks and the B side with only 1 track, but Iterate actually is a kind of digression from the norm, from the Mountain People norm, because it's electro, basically, very playful, deep electro, not for the prime time dance floor, but more for intimate club venues and stuff. And it kind of reminded me of stuff that has been released on the Innate label recently, the label run by my mate Owain Kimber out of the UK, actually. And this is a nice toolish track for deep electro sets, which I really love. The deep house tracks are okay, and I will play them, but I mainly bought this one for Iterate. So this is Mountain People 018 Ocean Me out of Switzerland, actually. And the next one, the second one, is a bit of a discovery for me, and it's one of the best albums I heard in many years. One of the most intriguing and unique. And what I'm talking about is Tree Spirits. From Nursery to Misery is the band. I hope you can see this with the glare right. Has been re-released on the Dark Entries label and is a kind of a collection of tracks taken from this band, which was active on the tape scene in the UK in the early 90s, late 80s, coming out of the punk scene, actually. 2 twin sisters, Gina and Tina Fear, and a producer, actually, and coming out of all places in the UK, out of Basildon, so you know which kind of world famous synth pop band has been coming from there as well. There's a nice little hype sticker on there, and they are very unique, very haunting. It's hard to describe this. Coming out of the kind of punk meets wave meets synth wave thing, but more on the ethereal synth pop thing, but in a very raw, unprocessed, definitely unproduced or unpolished way. In Germany, we would call this geniale Dilettanten, ingenious dilettantes, that kind of movement that came out of the Berlin scene kind of the late 80s. And yeah, the music is very lo-fi, what you expect from synth pop, drum machines, a few basic synthesizers and stuff. And then the girls, the 2, which are kind of very close to each other, are singing, but in a very, well, with like childlike voices actually, and totally off rhythm. Like they are like a little bit of, I don't know if they don't have the feeling for rhythm, but they try to sing melodies, but like a child would do actually. So that's not, it's like more like a speak singing, and most of the time a little to totally out of tune with the rhythmic elements of the music, but still this works for me somehow, and has kind of a kind of eerie and very haunting and interesting and also very fresh approach, kind of. But as my colleagues in the Vinyl Warehouse, when we listened to this on Spotify quite a few times, they called them the sisters of horror, kind of. So the Devil's sisters, because they totally cannot like get their head around why I'm totally fascinated by it. But it's new, very still new sounding, still very fresh. Of course, it's underground. My favorite tracks on there are definitely Poison, which is like very haunting and also very catchy. And there comes this little like kind of booklet with it, where they have like photos and then old tape scene interview thing kind of going on, and photos and lyrics, of course. And my favorite line, which is actually the chorus of Poison, is this poison in your vein is protection to the sane. Help them sleep well in their beds, but they'll feel different when you're dead. So I guess you know the score, what is going on in terms of lyrics. So very distracted, kind of dystopian, also very out there, and with a feeling of anxiety and also separation anxiety, and kind of this project. Here's a photograph of the sisters when they were young. It's kind of tragic somehow, because those two sisters, they have like kind of issues, I guess, with anxiety, and they are still like very close. And I saw like a kind of documentary on YouTube or on the other platform, which Vimeo actually, and they live together in a shed kind of in England, and they are dressing up like mad people, but always identical, and they look like those crazy ladies you see sometimes like strolling the street, and you're not very sure if they are like just rich and eccentric, or like just totally mad and yeah, probably homeless, or like living in some kind of shelter or whatever. So, and I think they don't work. They live in that like small shed with like a still like wood oven and stuff, and heating, and are very close and kind of esoteric as well. And seeing them now as grown ups who have been like living this way for ages, actually, it's kind of tragic and sad. And but still, the music is very interesting and intriguing, and they're very shy, and there have been attempts to separate them, like as in school basically as well, and this brought them even closer together, and they have a kind of like weird, somewhat uneasy relationship with each other, I guess. So it's not like twins like you would usually have, because twin sisters and then identical twins are always very close, but this is even more than that, and it's like I don't know, very strange to see that documentary right now with those grown-up women, elderly women, kind of still working as close as them, and yeah, it's a kind of uncanny somehow to watch that. So, but the music in this one is kind of the best stuff I heard, the best album I've heard, or the most refreshing album I've heard in ages. And I do plan to get the other one that has been released on the Dark Entries album, as Dark Entries label as well, in the future. So this was released in the one I want to get was released in 2017, I guess. And this is good stuff, but with the backstory, or knowing about the backstory, it becomes kind of tragic, and a lot of lyrics that are on this album kind of point to where their lives was going, kind of. There is also In Say Goodbye to the Deep Blue Sky, which is one of my other favorite songs on here. There is like a line like the context is she falls asleep and wakes up and everything has changed and stuff, and there's like 3 lines. We are totally self-sufficient, our supplies will never end, your families will be informed that you're dead. So and then she goes on about like being a part of a social experiment kind of, and this is like kind of pointing into a direction that their lives will take a strange direction, and they ended up like they ended up, but still their musical legacy continues and obviously still has fans, even though it's hard to get your head around some of those tracks. But still, if you're into like synthwave electronic music from the early 90s, late 80s era, and like very underground stuff, I would try to get hold of this and at least listen to this once, because From Nursery to Misery are definitely a very interesting band, and well, recommended listen from my point of view. And that's it, wraps it up for this video. Actually, if you like this one, you know the score, like, subscribe. Bandcamp up there for the No More Suicide Commander release, which is already sold out again. So at least the first batch of the second pressing, which I got like last week, is kind of completely gone. So the band sold their copies within 3 hours, I guess. I had a few left for my Bandcamp, which also sold out quickly. All other records I like shipped to the distributor are gone as well, or at least like ordered. And I'm waiting for a call from the pressing plant to pick up the next 350, so the last batch of the second pressing. So this is going on, but aside from that, leave a comment if you know From Nursery to Misery, or if you listen to this album. Let me definitely know what you think about it, and if you've watched that kind of documentary, which is Googleable, I guess. So watch this, find this, watch this, and let me know what you think about that as well. So Bass Junkie out. I'm going into editing mode. See you on the next one. See you later.